set up Facebook Live, and I'm gonna tag you. So once we get live, I don't know if you can see it on another platform or.
I got my cell phone right here. I'm gonna pull it up, and then I can hit the share button while we're going.
Okay. So I'm hitting live now, and then once we get started, I'm still gonna give it a few minutes just to let people come over. All right. Going live with Abraham, my brother.
My brother from another one. All right, I'm following you real quick, and I'll be sure to hit the share button as well.
Okay. And thanks for posting earlier too that you would be on with me.
Absolutely.
Ooh, Abraham.
Is it live just now?
I'm typing the title in, so I'll give it a second.
Okay.
It's about to come in 1 second.
Take your time.
All right, we're going live. We're going live. We're going live.
All right, I'm checking it out. There we are. All right. Starting it across the platform. Just got a few of them, so give me just a second. All right.
Good to go. Lopez, Smith Hartman.
Yeah, Smith Hartman was my running mate here in Westampton Township, Maureen Smith Hartman. She's
Okay.
a great mentor for me, locally speaking, in the sense that I'm originally not from South Jersey. I'm a North Jersey cat. So she's been a mentor. One thing I did quickly was identify folks who are really connected in the community and pick their brains and allow them to usher me and guide me throughout this town. It's been truly the reason for our success here in our township. And Maureen is definitely a part of it.
Well, thank you, Maureen, for sharing this. She just shared it with her group, so I appreciate that. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm sharing it with a few other groups.
I see Casey's there.
Come on in the room, people. Come on in the room. This is about to be good. I'm excited. I know you have some jewels to drop on us tonight.
My gosh, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. Let's see, where am I sharing this? All right. All right, we got a couple of shares, a couple of people. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. All right, man, it's 6:04, and one of the things, Abraham, just so you know, I'm not gonna parlay the time. I feel like those who can get on and watch it live will watch it live. Those who watch it later will watch it later. I know you have so much to share, and I wanted my followers to learn about you, my friends and followers on social media, to learn about you and the amazing things that you're doing. So let's get started.
Let's do this.
Yes, sir. So welcome back, everybody. This is my two-man talks. It's not Two-Man Tuesday, but this was so special. I had to do a Two-Man Tuesday on Wednesday because I was able to lock down a man that I admire. I've had the chance to meet him as we've been doing ministry work. We moved our second location to the Westampton area of New Jersey, and one of the first things that I did was schedule time to meet with the mayor of Westampton, because for me, it's important to learn the landscape and understand the community that I'm going into. And so if I can meet with the politicians or the mayor, the city council, then that helps me understand what the needs are in the community. And so when I did that, I actually had a ride along with Mayor Daniels of Westampton. And when we completed our ride along, I had a chance to meet this great individual that you're getting ready to meet tonight. And I'll let you hear from him in terms of the role that he served. But just a great person, you know, no matter where I've been in the world and what I do in ministry and what I've done in business, man, I'm a regular guy. I like regular people, down to earth people. And so one of the things that I could attest to this gentleman is that just a great guy, a great spirit, positive, knowledgeable about what he was doing, and you made me feel welcome. So welcome to my channel tonight, sir.
Thank you, my brother. I'm really, really excited and both honored to have been asked to join you tonight. I've been watching, tuning in, and seeing the caliber of the professionals and leaders that you've been hosting, man. And they're definitely tough acts to follow, but I'm honored. And so thank you. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this conversation since you extended the invitation. So let's get it on.
Yeah, let's do it. So my new book that's coming out in June is called It Takes Two, Who is Helping You Lead? And so this book is really not a book to me. It's something that I feel is important and needs to happen in our culture right now. And so my goal from this book is to spark a conversation, is to spark an awareness of the fact that no great leader can lead alone. You can read 1,000 books on leadership right now, and most books are catered to a senior leader or an entrepreneur who's kind of doing it on their own. And so I saw another channel in leadership, because for me, 20 years, whether as a business consultant, whether as a chief operating officer, whether as an executive pastor, I know that I'm a leader. I know that I'm a natural born leader, and I can lead without the title. I can lead without a label placed on me. I can lead from anywhere in the organization. If I'm the janitor, I feel like I can lead from that spot, because leadership is about influence.
Yes.
And so knowing that that was my assignment, I never had a desire to be my name in lights. I didn't care about that. I don't care if you put my name on the billboard, but what I do want is the mission to get accomplished. I want to win. And so that's been my plight. And so over the course of 20 years, I've met other individuals who have been fantastic leaders. And one of the things that concerned me is I saw people who might have been a two-man, and that is an executive support leader, male or female, that were great at what they did. Like, they moved the muscle, they moved the ball down the field, but somehow, somewhere, someone said, were you smarter than the leader, or why you don't do your own thing and you should branch off and do your own? And sadly, when I went back to look for them to see the great work they were doing, a lot of them, because of peer pressure, ambition, whatever, they jumped into a number one role and never heard from them again. And I just thought that was sad. So this book is kind of a celebration of two men and women. It is letting senior leaders know you can't do it by yourself. And I want to help them find quality help. And so that's kind of what this book is for. So I was blessed to meet you, because you were in a two role in government. And so this is a different sphere. So, man, come on, tell me who you are. Tell me about you. Let's talk about early years first before we get into the career.
Let's do it.
Who are you and where are you from, brother?
I'm from Chilltown, New Jersey, which is also known as Jersey City, New Jersey.
Okay.
My father is a Pentecostal minister, has been serving and preaching the gospel for over 30 years. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my father's a pastor.
Okay.
I'm a PK. I'm a pastor's kid. My mother's first lady, a very active first lady. And I've been exposed early on to public service. And I knew, since I was a child and since my father dedicated me before the Lord, that I had a calling and that my ministry would be unique. I knew it would not per se be in the church, but my ministry would go beyond the church. My father was a visionary in the sense that at a time where church folk were not going beyond the four walls of the church, he was out. I'm talking about 80s, early 90s,
Okay.
registering folks to vote, which was really, really taboo at that time, in the sense that especially Pentecostal folk, we don't get involved with politics. Politicians are folks that lie and rob and all these kind of things that we've been taught over the years, theologically speaking. And my father felt in his spirit that he needed to break that. So that was inseminated in me from an early age. We did not have much. We did not have much in the sense that my father's heart was to give it all to the community. Now, there's some pros and there's some major cons to that, right? And the family dynamic and the impact of when you go all in for ministry and the effect it has to a spouse and to children. But what we did not have, he certainly gave or made up for by way of educating me and my siblings. I've experienced what it is to need social services and be on a line for whether it's food coupons or WIC or low-income home energy assistance or Section 8. And by the grace of God and through hard work, perseverance, I was able to flip on the other side and become an overseer of all fundings to Hispanic community-based organizations statewide that are providing social services. So a full 180, and quite frankly, in short time, in the sense that I was appointed Director of Hispanic and Faith-Based Affairs in 2010. At the time, I was the youngest director at the governor's office, and also I'd say statewide. I was a young buck.
Okay.
We met in the boardroom. The average age was 49, 50, but at late 50s at times.
Wow.
And we knew that there was a purpose and that the story and my life story was one that was worthy of being told and shared. So that's a little bit about my background. I started out as a music education major. I wanted to be a music teacher.
Okay. Wait, hold on. So I knew it was something. See, I didn't even know. See, I'm thinking we about to have a political government conversation. I should have known it was some fire and some burning on the inside when I met you, man. Okay.
I wanted to be a music teacher. I wanted to be a music teacher in the sense that, look, I'm the youngest of 5 kids in a Pentecostal household. You are either going to be an usher, you are either going to be a preacher, an evangelist, a teacher, or you're going to be a musician in a church. And I really early on, I knew the power of music, and I had in my heart to continue serving the church during the summertime. So what better position than being a music teacher, having summers off, and then mentoring kids during the summer. So that my heart was in it. But now that's when life smacked me up. And as you all know, we can have our plans and we can have our desires, and life says otherwise. I was married young with an amazing woman who totally believed in my dream and my vision. I had a brother, or have still a brother, who is diagnosed with schizophrenia. Mental health. A lot of folks, we don't want to talk about mental health issues.
We can talk about it here.
All right now.
Believe it. My wife is a licensed professional counselor. Listen, that is, we understand it, and shout out, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so, man, let's speak on whatever we want to speak on.
So the burden of that, right? And so I like to tell folks, a lot of people love highlighting the year of their graduation. That's all great. But I think it's important to highlight the year you started. I started in 2003, and I graduated with my first bachelor's degree in 2010. If you did the math, that was a 7-year process.
7 years, okay.
And I'm going to tell you this, for a lot of Black and brown students, that is about average nowadays.
That's right.
You're working full time. You're dealing with all of these life issues that have been thrown at you. And that's where the perseverance comes in to play.
Okay.
So
save that principle when I get to qualities, because I want to come back to that.
So my wife says, you're taking a whole lot of time doing this whole music education thing, and I don't think this is going to work out. And I've been checking your transcripts, and you've got a lot of history and political science courses in there. I think you should transfer to political science, and probably in a semester or two, you'll be done with a bachelor's. And I said, honey, I really want to be a teacher, and I'm married to a Puerto Rican woman.
Okay.
And so what she said went. And
now what's your heritage? She's Puerto Rican. What's your heritage?
I'm Afro-Puerto Rican. So my father's line is African Puerto Rican. My great-great-grandfather is a former slave in the city of Ponce, Puerto Rico. And as you know, or as many probably know, slavery was abolished last in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. It was done in the mainland United States, but it kept going in Puerto Rico. So my father's lineage comes from Ponce, which is the second largest port city in Puerto Rico. And why I'm emphasizing the city of Ponce is that when slavery was finally abolished in the island of Puerto Rico, a lot of those Jim Crow laws were existing. And slavery was still coming in through the second port of Ponce, Puerto Rico. San Juan being the main port, all the attention was placed in San Juan. Folks were still up to no good in Ponce. So my father's family said, we need to flee to the mountaintops. So my current present-day family in Puerto Rico are from the mountaintops of Calle, Puerto Rico, where many Afro-Puerto Ricans fled to the hilltops to escape those that were still enslaving folks and were practicing Jim Crow-type laws on the island. So I embrace my Afro-Puerto Rican heritage. And if you speak with many Puerto Ricans and they did a little research, they know that they too have that Afro Puerto Rican history and culture. And I am one that encourages my family and my children to embrace that. So my wife, going back to the quick story,
okay,
says, you got to switch majors. And so I switched the major, all right? And I graduate with a degree in political science. And I still want to be a teacher. I go and take an exam, a praxis exam, to be an alternate route teacher. And we held hands and we said a prayer to the Lord. We said, God, if it's your will for me to be a teacher, I'm going to pass this test on the first shot. Mind you, the test at that time was over $300. That was basically a good fraction of my rent money at the time.
Okay.
And the other option was, Lord, if not, I'm going into politics. All right. I'm gonna dabble into it.
Okay.
And I took the test. I came home feeling really good, really good. Mm-hmm. A month later, I got the results. Remember, I told you needed a 300 to pass.
Yeah.
I scored a 299. I was 1 point shot from passing.
Wow.
And I went to my wife and I said, baby, if you give me just one more shot, it was just 1 point. And she said, no, we prayed to the Lord. If you didn't pass in the first shot, you getting into politics.
Listen to the Lord speak, Reverend.
So the rest is history, man. That's what started my trajectory in public office and in politics. I, by the grace of God, worked from becoming director of Hispanic and faith-based affairs to being promoted while retaining the previous responsibilities. I became the executive director of the New Jersey Center for Hispanic Policy, Research, and Development, which is basically the state's one-stop shop for all things Latino related, overseeing a few $1 million in grant funding to all community-based organizations, many of the organizations that when I was in need, I was knocking on their doors for assistance, and now I'm on the other side funding those organizations. And then my last promotion at the executive level of government was being the Deputy Chief of Staff for Civic Engagement for the Office of the Lieutenant Governor of the state of New Jersey, which happened to be New Jersey's first Lieutenant Governor. I got tired of the commute from Jersey City.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I want to do this. I want to hit our Instagram family real quick. I gotta tease them to tell them to come over here and hear your story. This is fantastic. So hold on a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Y'all listen, we are on Facebook Live. I want my Instagram friends to come over to Facebook. You gotta meet this guy. This guy is dropping bombs. He is educating us on history, Afro-Puerto Ricans, his tenure in government. You got to come over here and check this out. All right.
All right, we're back. So I got tired of my commute from Jersey City to Trenton. I was doing it. I was leaving home at 6 in the morning, getting home around 9 o'clock. And anybody who lives up north knows that when you're trying to find parking, it's about an hour to 2 hours to find that parking. So I was hitting the sack at around 11 p.m. at night. And I got tired of that quality of life, and I wanted something better for my wife and my son. And so I studied, and I heard about this town named Westampton. It was pretty affordable in the property tax department. The diversity was really unique for me in the sense that it was totally different than what I was used to. Being born and raised in Jersey City, which is the most diverse city in the nation, where over 90 languages are spoken, to a small suburban town of under 8,000 residents, predominant Caucasian, second African American, third Asian, last is Latino, really last.
So how'd you find Westampton? How'd you find that city? What made you go there?
That's a good question. So what I knew right away is I wanted a 20 to 25 minute commute from Trenton for wherever I would purchase a home. Okay. So I took literally a road map and I placed a pin in the heart of Trenton. And you know, the road map gives you those guides, right? This distance equals 20 miles or 25 miles. And so I cut a piece of string and I just made a quick circle around the map. And I researched the heck out of every town in that radius. Wow. And the town that I felt was best for my kids, academically speaking, and then best for my wallet, financially speaking, was the township of Westampton.
Wow. All right. So hold on. Let's pause for the cause for a second. So people who might just be coming on, I'm in the middle of a conversation, a two-man talk with Abraham Lopez, man. He is dropping knowledge. We're learning about his story, his background, and how he got to where he is today. So this is a part of my two-man talks as I'm preparing to release my book, It Takes Two, Who Is Helping You Lead. He is doing a fantastic job. Follow him on Facebook. Follow him on Instagram. Instagram, you are what on Instagram?
I'm Abraham Lopez, NJ, for all platforms.
Abraham Lopez, NJ. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on Twitter. You on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, Abraham Lopez, NJ, and on Facebook.
All right. So if you're coming in late, you're in the middle of a conversation, don't worry about it. We about to have a good time. We're just warming up. So just want to take that pause for the cause. All right. So now you're in Westampton. You've done all this with the state of New Jersey. You're in Westampton. Let's go. What happens once you get to Westampton?
You know, just like what your book talks about, right? I'm the two-man at the state level. And little by little, I said, you know what? I would like to try the other perspective, right? I've worked for the candidates for the last nearly a decade. I've assisted politicians in their campaigns. I've crossed over to the public service, nonpartisan field of governing. And I said, you know what, I'd like to give it a try. There's some issues in my local town that I was unaware of when I bought my home, and they don't sit right with me or well with me. And I can't just sit with my arms crossed. I got to do something about it. And I told you, I met Maureen Smith-Hartman, a longstanding resident, and I united with her. And we said, you know, enough's enough. Let's do something about it. And I started daring to live out some of my dreams, right, as a two-man.
Okay.
And I announced my candidacy for township committee. What was unique is that I'm a registered Republican, and folk that are registered Republican, they don't do well in my town. Okay. My town is a majority and predominantly Democratic community. Okay. And I said, you know, I think that I can change that. With the years of experience and my life story and what I've been through, if we do what politicians should do but don't do, and treat the office as it was intended to be, in the office of public service, right? With introducing service-minded leadership to the residents, I said something's got to strike a nerve. And believe it or not, I started knocking on doors on April 2015. I say March or April, where traditionally you don't hear from politicians until after Labor Day, right? That's when they start knocking on your doors and calling you.
Coming to your church and all that.
Come on now. I said, I don't want to be that politician. And as a matter of fact, I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a public servant. I began knocking on doors on March of 2015. Folks would say, what are you doing? Folks don't come here knocking on doors until about October. And I said, you know what? I'm not one of those politicians. I bet you the last politician you spoke to, you haven't seen him since he won that election. And many folks said, you are absolutely right.
Wow.
And to make a long story short, that November, election time came. And by the grace of God and for his glory, I was elected committeeman for the township of Westampton. The first one for my party in a long time, and the first Latino elected in the history of my township, and the youngest person ever elected in the history of my township.
Wow.
So that's what brought me to Westampton and the unique two-man relationship that followed.
Okay, well, man, fantastic. Denise Colazzo says hello.
Hey, Denise.
Joanne Lulio Morris.
Yep.
Yeah, she says hello, hello. So they're watching. Okay, so let's pause before we go further. So what I would like to ask you, even before we get into your two-man role in Westampton. So along your journey, what you were doing, public service, what you ended up doing with the governor's office of the state of New Jersey. Talk to me a little bit about this two-man concept. So I share in the book, like, I think it's important no matter what sphere or mountain of influence that we're in. I began by talking about Michael Jordan and how Michael Jordan, as great as he was as the GOAT, he became the GOAT, but he never won a championship until Scottie Pippen became a great leader himself. Took Scottie Pippen mature, then they went on this run of 6 championships. You can look in any field. I look at Bill Gates, and I can tell you about Paul Allen. You tell me Steve Jobs, I can tell you Steve Wozniak. You tell me about Russell Simmons with Def Jam, I could say Russell Simmons really was the 2. Rick Rubin was the 1 to begin with, and Russell was the 2, and it just got flipped. He became more popular. Man, you can look at Austin Powers, the movie, and Mini-Me. He specifically said, let me introduce you to my number 2. What's his name? Number 2. So all these fields, man, is basically no leader can do it by themselves. And so I would like to hear your perspective working for the state of New Jersey and what you saw as a chief of staff and what was important for your role to be successful as a two-man there.
You know, I appreciate that. And working for some folks that are in prominent position, we're talking about serving as a director to the governor of your home state, serving as a deputy chief of staff to the lieutenant governor, who in her right is a two-man, right? Number 2 to the governor, lieutenant governor of the state of New Jersey. And it was a unique experience in that New Jersey never had a lieutenant governor, right? The first lieutenant governor is Kim Guadagno. It was passed a few years ago, and then she was the first one who was sworn into office in 2010. These are some high-profile individuals, some intelligent, smart individuals, politically savvy. I mean, love them, hate them, whatever your opinion is of the man. I mean, Chris Christie, you hear the man speak and you hear him go in an argument or going back and forth with the press, man. You just sit back and you say, these folks are incredible individuals. And you acknowledge and see why they have reached where they've reached in their lives. But what's important to point out is that they too acknowledge that they can't do it alone.
It's good.
They need a team. What I am most impressed about, the lieutenant governor, for instance, although she was a brilliant woman in her own right, she's an attorney, wasn't a professor. She was a U.S. attorney, prosecuting gangsters and the mob, if you will. I believe her specialty in the U.S. Attorney's Office was racketeering and public corruption. All right, so you got to be a real smart person but she was even able to check her ego and recognize that there were some things she just didn't know.
Yeah.
And she would depend on someone like myself to say, hey, Abraham, I'm about to reach out to this audience. I don't have the experience that you have in this department. I have a message I want to share, but I need you to share with me your experience with this audience so that I can ensure that the way I want to deliver my message will be well received for that audience that I'm trying to outreach. If she had an ego,
come on, man,
and wasn't able to check her ego,
yeah,
you just hire a squad to walk around with you, right? Your hype man, you know? And I think that's what distinguishes leaders from entertainers.
Wow.
All right. You know, politicians, they can be leaders and public servants, or they can just be someone who talks well and is a good entertainer, knows how to grab folks' attention. And quite frankly, that's the main reason why many cities across the United States of America, many counties in many states are in the financial, political, social problem that they find themselves in, because you got a politician or an entertainer at the helm of the power versus a true leader.
Abraham, brother Abraham, come on, speak truth, man.
So that boss lady was able to check her ego and was able to empower me to advise her in areas where she knew she was deficient in. You know, that's why self-awareness is so key.
Yeah.
To being a good leader and also being a good two-man.
Yeah. Now let me jump in and say this. My pastor, Darius Daniels, man, fantastic leader. We were having a conversation because he was the inspiration of me writing this book. He knew this was in my heart, and he kind of released me to go forth with it. And one of the conversations we had, he said it was so important for him to be healthy as a senior leader, secure enough to have, whether it's me or anyone else around him on the team, to let us bring to the table what they are. But so many times you have insecure, unhealthy leaders who don't recognize the value. In some areas, they're not the smartest person. In some areas, I need people around me who's smarter than me in certain areas because they bring value, and I don't have to be intimidated by their gifts. And so talk to me a little bit about that. Have you seen that? Jacob Melendez, Pastor Jacob says hello.
What's up, Pastor Jacob from the Bronx, New York? God bless you, Pastor.
Bronx, BK.
Sergio from Brick City, Newark. How you doing, Sergio? I want to speak to that. You know, I had a mentor friend of mine, a good colleague, somebody that I actually hired when I was executive director of the Center for Hispanic Policy to assist me in mentoring new Latino leaders, right? Because the important thing about leadership is not only that you're earning these titles and you're gaining these experiences. I think leadership is also tried and tested on whether or not you have the ability to reach out as you rise, right? And so as I was rising, I was also lifting up a lot of young Latinos throughout the state of New Jersey by way of a Governor's Hispanic Fellows program that I was overseeing. And so Rod Colon, he's a master networker, a good buddy of mine, and has become a mentor over the years. He told me once, Abe, I see you getting pulled left and right. I see you advising a lot. I see you attending all these events statewide. But it's important that you remember that you are the CEO of you. In other words, I'm the CEO of me, my life. All right, I'm the chairman of my executive board. And as the chairman of my executive board, I need to be really judicious on who I let on my board of governors.
Come on. Man, we just had a conversation with my pastor about this. Come on, talk.
So I got to be really judicious on who I let as a number 2 man or as the number 1 man on my board of governors. I mean, do I want drama on my board of governors? Then I know I need a drama-free board of governors. So I can't have anybody who's bringing in drama to my life because I'm the CEO of me. So I've learned over the years, and I wasn't born knowing this, but I learned throughout the years that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
No, man.
I need to surround myself with folk that are smarter than me.
Yes, sir.
That are more skilled than me in areas that I'm deficient, because I have a self-awareness too. I know where I'm strong and I know where I'm weak.
Yeah.
So I've chosen in life, and the lieutenant governor and the folks that I've worked with, they've chosen that they don't want to surround themselves with an entourage. They don't want to surround themselves with a bunch of yes folk, okay? And they want to surround themselves with folks that are stronger than them in certain areas. And then you create your board of governors, and you can properly execute as the CEO of your own life. So that's it right there for me.
That's good, man. That's good. All right, another pause, man. And we're getting ready to get to Westampton. But tell people, so what are some other things that you're involved in? What are some other things you have going on that people may want to kind of hear about if people are jumping on? Like, what's some stuff if they come to your social media, maybe something that you have going that you want people to know about? Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll come back to what's happening.
Absolutely. So I sit on quite a few boards. I am a founding board member of the New Jersey for Puerto Rico Hurricane Relief. Literally 48 hours after that organization, after that hurricane hit Puerto Rico, statewide leaders, Puerto Rican leaders from all walks of life, all political affiliations, religious affiliations, the business community, we got on a conference call and put our heads together and said, how can we help the island? Acknowledging that the help wasn't getting there fast enough. And I offered to those that were on the call to incorporate and create a nonprofit organization, which today is duly recognized by the Internal Revenue Service as a 501c3 organization, registered with New Jersey Charities Registration Bureau. So
that organization, what is that? How do people find out about that?
You just need to go to NJ4, the number 4PR.org, NJ, the number 4PR.org, and you can learn more.
NJ4.org.
NJ4PR for Puerto Rico. PR for Puerto Rico.org. NJ4PR.org. So I'm a founding board member. I have a good handle on nonprofit management, so I advise and consult a lot of nonprofit organizations, just like the organizations that you founded yourself, and assisting them in doing what they do, but at a higher level, right? Mm-hmm. I've learned over the years that nonprofit organizations, they do great jobs in our communities, but they lack the capacity and need technical assistance in the administrative side of things, right?
Yeah.
You know, you can be doing a great job, but if nobody knows what you're doing, you're going to have a hard time raising money for that organization.
That's right.
All right. So I empower organizations and work with nonprofit organizations to teach them how to properly document what they're doing, how to highlight milestones that organizations are achieving, and most importantly, tell a story. You got to be able to tell a story. And go ahead.
No, so I was going to say, so if my nonprofit organization, if any other nonprofit organizations needed your consultation, needed your help, where do they go to reach out to try to get an assessment or whatever that is?
That's a great question. I invite folks to check me on my official page on Facebook, Abraham Lopez NJ. Send me a message there and we'll connect. My email it's a public email. Everybody knows it by now. It's Abraham Lopez 2, the number 2 @gmail.com. Abraham Lopez 2 @gmail.com. So that's part of what I do. I'm also a founding board member of the Detective Melvin Santiago Dream Fund for new recruits. A lot of folks don't know, there was a young man who was assassinated in a Walgreens in Jersey City on Communipole Avenue. He was a rookie police officer, was responding to an armed robbery call, but unfortunately, it was a direct attack against police. So my family, we have unique stories about community policing in the sense that obviously we're people of color, and we do acknowledge the wide gap between the community and policing. And here's my this officer who was assassinated, was killed, was my cousin. Was my cousin, and he was I say 6 to 7 years before he was assassinated. He was mugged on those streets of Jersey City, on that same block where he was assassinated. And he said, I want to be different and I want to do something in my community. And, you know, he worked from being a victim, right? Being mugged on the streets of Jersey City. He was a kid who was raised in the Hill in Greenville, just like me. Anybody knows Jersey City and knows about the Hill or Greenville knows that it's an area not for the faint of heart. And he became a police officer, and he was of mixed ancestry. He's Puerto Rican by father's side and was Italian by mother's side. And this young man, a young brother, wanted to take out a cop that night because someone in his gang was assassinated or killed, was killed by a cop, I'd say a few weeks before.
Wow. And
so he wanted to take out, you know, one of these police officers. And my cousin's complexion was pretty fair due to that mixed, right? And they thought they were just taking out one of these, you know, Caucasian cops. And this young brother approached my cousin. My cousin wasn't quick to draw an arm because he didn't see people like that. He wasn't intimidated by working in that neighborhood. And the person literally took one bullet to his head. Wow. And took his life. So my family, through that pain, through that heartache, we said, you know, we can become bitter. We can just kind of accept the loss and not do anything about it to effectuate change in that particular community. So my cousins united, and they decided to create a nonprofit organization called the Detective Melvin Santiago's Dream Fund for new recruits. Because my cousin, when he was coming up and wanted to be a cop, he could not afford to pay all of the turnout gear that's required for new police recruits. You got to get yourself a gun. You got to get yourself your training uniform for police academy. Some cities cover this, but the city of Jersey City at the time, and if I'm not mistaken currently, does not pay for this. And so you know how we do, right? Somebody in the family is trying to move up in life and is trying to do something good. You know, we pass the hat around. And the family chipped in particular, my cousin Aggie made sure that all of his needs were covered. And so we figured, just like my cousin Melvin, there's got to be many young ones in the urban communities that want to be police officers but can't afford these materials. So my family sponsors these police officers that honor my cousin's memory and who are dedicated to community policing, being just like him. Someone who literally wanted to do harm. My cousin faced him in the eye and did not see people that way. Unfortunately, it took his life, but we want to empower folks that love our communities to be police. So that's another nonprofit organization that I work with. And look, consulting and advising folks that are interested in public office, running for office. I've had the distinct pleasure of assisting folks that are running from the Board of Education to folks that are running for governor, lieutenant governor, U.S. Senate, and the like. You know, wherever I can provide some counsel, I'm happy to do that, so long as the motivation and the intentions are where they need to be.
Wow. Casey Colonna says, Abe, you're doing great things. Proud to say I know you. Man, this is fantastic, man. I never would have known the scope and the depth of all the things you do. But one of the things I hear listening to you and what I appreciate is you about that action. And when I say that, a lot of people talk a talk and smile and want to go kiss the babies, but not doing anything, not getting their hands dirty, not putting in work. So, man, just kudos to you for what you're doing, a public servant in the truest sense. And so I just appreciate that. I know Westampton appreciates having someone like you. It was funny. We ran into each other Sunday.
Yep.
And one of the things that we're doing at Change Church, you know, we're expanding, and we have a campus in Los Angeles now, and we're getting ready to launch a campus in Orlando, Florida. And so I was telling Pastor Daniels, we was texting, I was like, hey, I'm gonna sit down with Abraham Lopez, I told him you were there, and I said I'm gonna sit down with him in the next couple of weeks, just to kind of talk about some stuff, because for me, the church, my role in the church is executive pastor, and that pretty much encompasses overseeing the day-to-day operations, a lot of our community outreach. But as we expand and as we grow, I understand the importance of partnering in the community. I understand the importance of community development, because we don't want to just be a church in the city. We are a church for the city. So wherever we go, we're trying to spiritually map and community map those cities to figure out what's needed and what do we want to do, because man, we're about transformation. We want people to come to our church. We want to change lives spiritually and holistically, but at the same time, we want the community to be different. We want the community to fill us, and that was one of the reasons, as I bring us up to your role at Westampton and how we met. It was because I wanted to hear from the powers that be in the city, like what's going on in the city, how can we help? I met with you guys, I met with the township superintendent of schools, I met with the fire chief, I met with everybody to say, okay, we here, and we want to get our hands dirty. And so we've been able to do things like the clean the town day. We went in, cleaned up the fire department and helped paint and whatever we can do. And so I was blessed to meet you as I was talking with Mayor Daniels. And so talk to me now about your role as a two-man in Westampton, because you're on the council, you're a committee member, but then you had another position last couple of years. So tell me about the two-man role for the township of Westampton.
So I was elected into office, as I had mentioned, and I was the minority on the committee, the majorities of the opposite party. And there was a brother on the committee, Ciandre Daniels, you know him well.
Yeah.
I really had a good feel for the man's heart for our community. And among the first actions I took as an elected official was vote for somebody from my opposite party as the mayor of my township. The way this works out in politics is, right, I'm from one party and we're trying to take over, and the other party is on the decline, right? Folks would sit in these reorganization meetings and say, I'm not voting for him because he's from the opposite party. So they say, no. So usually these meetings are rather contentious, drama-filled. And, the first executive action, the first vote I took was to vote for a Democrat to be the mayor. And since then, it was literally one of the best decisions that I've made. And this is the beginning and the genesis of our two-man story. I got a good feel for the man's vision and dream for
That's important. That's important as a two-man. Come on. You gotta have that. All right.
I had a good feel for his vision, for his heart for our community. And, I had to make a decision. I can either be in the minority with no influence, no power, right? Because of the partisan divide that existed amongst Republicans and Democrats. Or I can do what I said I would do when I was knocking on everybody's door, which was to put people first, party last, right? And do what's in the best interest of my community and my people. So I made an educated decision and said, I want to make a difference. I want to have a seat at the table. I want to be influential. And we decided to work together. So we worked together. I made him mayor, right? He was at a different place with his own party at the time, because his heart and his ambition and vision for the community was much different than his own colleagues from his own party was at the time. And since we had a shared vision and we had a dream that was Westampton, right, and what it could be, I voted for him, and he paid it back by saying, you know what? If this brother took such a bold step to make me mayor, when a lot of folks who were from my own party for many years would not give me the vote of confidence that this young man from the opposite party did, I'm going to be bold with him. He grabbed my hand. He said, I nominate Abe to be deputy mayor.
Wow.
And we had the votes, man. And here the story begins of, quite frankly, I think the first of its kind in partisan politics. Definitely in Burlington County, if not in the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
We had two elected officials of opposite political parties voting for each other to work together in this experiment called bipartisanship.
Wow. Wow, hold on. I just want to pause you, man.
All right,
the preacher in me. You guys sounds like an incredible story, and I think about a Jewish man who at one point was kind of ostracized because he was doing some things to the community, and they ain't know he had changed. He had a change of heart, and he had an experience on the road one day, and he kind of turned things around a little bit. But there was, when he was trying to come back and trying to say, I got a vision, I want to help, there was like, no, we not letting you in. But there was two-man Jewish guy by the name of Barnabas, who said, you know what? I'll vote for him. I'll put my neck on the line for this young guy.
Come on now.
Who kind of got a different approach to community development per se.
Yes.
And put his neck on the line. And now these two individuals, I don't know, but they say they kind of turned the world upside down. So I just thought about that when you kind of told me this story.
You know, two parties, right? Individual folk. He was raised in Philly. I was raised in Jersey City. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. He's a veteran. I'm a preacher's kid. You know, two worlds collided, right? And the reason they collided is because we both knew that we each had something that the other didn't. And that these two things individually were good. But if we can find a way to put our egos aside, to put our parties aside, to put everything that should have divided us and kept us going at each other's throats, and combine them together, we can do something great. Not good, great. And we both made an early decision on January 5th of 2016. To go all in for the people of Westampton Township, and that's what we did. Look, it takes two. And being a two-man, it's a process. It's definitely a process, and it's got to be a process of playing to the team's best interest.
That's right.
And playing to the team's best attributes. And the end result, the truth of the matter is, the end result is success.
That's right.
It's success for me individually. It's success for him individually as the mayor. And it's success for everyone in the township. Because you got elected folks doing what they are supposed to be doing, which is governing in a united fashion, putting people first over politics.
Wow, man. Kudos to you, man. If y'all have just tuned in, I have been in this two-man talk with an incredible individual, Mr. Abraham Lopez, who is a public servant at heart, who has been a two-man from all ranks of government, politics, knows the ins and outs. I'm just so appreciative that you took some time to come and share with me on my platform, man, to help us understand that this two-man concept, it applies across every sphere of influence. It's in every genre per se. And that's really what I want to help people understand. It takes two to do anything. You can't do anything by yourself. You know, I could talk about great two-man who your wife is a two-man. You know, for you to be successful and run your house and run your operations, if you are the CEO of you, your wife is your COO. Making sure everything happens. So I just want to get this message across. I want to help people who may feel like I am a two-man, a three-man, a four-man. Listen, you're no lesser than anything. If you are gifted, in an area. You bring gifts and skill sets to the table, whether it's administration, whether it's marketing, whether it's financial. Man, it's time for us to put aside the parties and figure out what is the win, what is the ultimate goal. At the end of the day, do I want my name in lights, or do I want things to be better? And I think that's the spirit of a two-man. I want to win. I want to see the vision of, I want to see the kingdom expand. I want to see our communities better. I want to see our businesses run better. I want to see our young people find purpose in life and not feel like because somebody else on Instagram is popping today, and most of the time they lying about it. They only show you what they want you to see. But you can be who God made you to be and excel. You've taken something. You come from a Pentecostal background, a PK, Puerto Rican background, and have used that to climb the ranks of government, of politics, become, man, just amazing. So, Abraham, your story is incredible. If you do nothing else, man, I want to say kudos to you. You are an inspiration. You are a light, a beacon of light. And hopefully more people can hear your story and hear what you've been through and what you've accomplished, because you are a portrait of hope. And I wanted you to hear that, man. I really do. I so value your life and your contribution.
Thank you. Coming from you, that means the world to me. But I tell you, you ain't seen nothing yet, man. You haven't seen anything yet. You know, the minute you think you've achieved it all, you're destined for failure. You're destined to fall. Right now, you know, I know that I don't know it all. And I'm going back to school. I actually started school again Monday.
Okay.
I want to finish this master's I started in executive leadership, right? And diving a little deeper into organizational behavior. Yeah. Why people think the way they think. Why do employees behave the way they behave? Why organizations have the problems they do have. You know, a lot of folks lose sight of the fact that one of the most important skill sets that employers are looking for in this modern day and age is problem solving.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to be a problem solving. You know, being a two-man, you know, a great part of that is being a problem solver.
Yeah.
Knowing how to, number one, identify the problem. You can't solve a problem if you can't identify the problem. Mm-hmm. Albert Einstein once said, if I had just 1 hour to save the world, I'm going to take 59 minutes to evaluate and study the problem, right? And I'm going to spend that last minute to just save the world and fix that problem. So 59 minutes he's going to spend it on trying to really get into the weeds of what is the root cause. Is it an individual issue, or is it an organizational issue, or is it a combination of both?
Yeah. Right.
So I want to get a little deeper into that kind of field of community development and nonprofit management. And God willing, this time next year, I'll be walking on that stage across Liberty University stage, collecting that master's degree in executive leadership with a focus in organizational development.
Okay, well, man, hey, I'm believing this gonna happen. Man, tell people where they can find you at one more time. Where can they follow you at? See all the great stuff that you're doing.
That's perfect. On Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, you can find me at Abraham Lopez NJ. That's at Abraham Lopez NJ on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And feel free to connect on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn and expanding the network. So
good stuff, man. Well, listen, man, we can do this all night because I'm all into it. What you're doing, man. But we got to break bread. We got to do breakfast and lunch. Talk about this Florida thing. So we need to chat about that. And again, man, I appreciate you. Just from you, I guess, kind of maybe I want to give a shout out to C. Andre Daniels, man, who did an endorsement in my book, and he wrote a great endorsement. But I would just love for you, man, if you can give me a moment. Why do you think something like this? Why do you think a book like this is important, just from what you've heard so far?
No, I think this book is going to be really, really important for folks in leadership roles and folks that aspire to be a leader. The reason being is that, you know, going back to the CEO of me, if you do not acknowledge the importance of surrounding yourself with folks who mean well for you, folks who buy into your dream, your vision, right? If you're on the leader side of things, or if you are in supporting someone else's dream and someone else's vision, you got to know that, you know, the ride it's not easy. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And picking up this book is gonna help you better serve your boss. It's gonna help you better serve that person that's serving that role as number one, who is in the limelight. And at the end of the day, if he or she succeeds, you succeed, right? You succeed. So that's what it really comes down to. I think your book and everything you've been talking about the last couple of days through every person you've been interviewing brings home the importance and the message of self-assurance, right? And knowing who you are, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Right? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What do I have to offer in this two-man relationship?
Yeah.
And how can I use that to maximize my own potential, my own personal ambitions, dreams, and goals that I have? This book, look, man, I haven't read it yet. Can we pre-order already or no?
Yeah, there it is. You can pre-order it right now. You can go to www.ittakes2lead.com. I actually got a free gift. If you go there, you can get a free gift right now. I'm giving out this thing that's called the top qualities of an executive leader. And I think any leader should get that profile. But the book, you can pre-order it now. It's scheduled to come out in the first week of June, and I'm excited about it. You can go to RamoneHarper.com and pre-order it. So I'm excited, man, but I'm excited about meeting people like yourself and telling them stories about what you're doing. And I just feel like this is an incredible thing, man, to get on here, man, from your background to mine, the church world, the political world, the business world, Republican. I don't even know what party I am. I think I'm just from the kingdom of God. That's where I'm from. Who right today?
I love it. I love it. Look, man, I've come to learn, now that I'm kind of, I've announced that I'm not pursuing re-election in my local township. I am not serving an executive in government or in politics at the moment. Whether I'm a Republican, whether I'm a Democrat, I've learned that if you're truly in it to win it, right, and we're talking about kingdom business and we're talking about changing lives, you know, there's one banner that you gotta wave higher than the banner of the donkey or the banner of the elephants, man. It's the banner of the lamb, right?
Come on, sir.
That's what I'm about. That's what I'm about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, man, thank you again. I look forward to lunch, man, on me. Let's get together real soon and talk about. Thank you for coming on, man.
Love and respect you, brother.
Kudos to the degree. You're getting that degree next year. You're walking across that stage for all the stuff that you're doing, man. Keep being light in darkness, man.
Thank you. Congratulations. And I can't wait. As soon as this is over, I'm going on my website and I'm going to cop me a pre-order of your book.
Come on. Come on now.
Spread the word. And I invite everybody that's watching and all the folks that I know that are hitting us up, share this video and encourage everybody to get this book tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Take care. Bless you, man.
Bless you, man.
All right.